you guys, we're coming to you live. Live on a recorded video from Dice Tower Con East here in Orlando, Florida. We're staying at the beautiful Crecy Royale Resort Hotel. And the first game of the convention that we played is Tobago by Bruce Allen. Now, Tobago came out in 2009. It's for 1 to 4 players and plays in about an hour.
2 to 4.
Oh, no, 2 to 4. I'm sorry. It does not have a solo variant, so it's 2 to 4. But we've wanted to play Tobago for quite a while, haven't we?
Yeah. It's hard
to
find.
Yeah, hard to get your hands on a copy, and people want ridiculous money for it, which I'm not going to pay because I don't have ridiculous money. But we wanted to play it, and this is a perfect time to do it. That's why I always tell you guys to go to your conventions, because you can play games that you can't get your hands on. But Tobago is a what do you call it? Deduction type of game.
But it works great with 2 people.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the best deduction game for 2 people I've ever played, and I like it because it's not social deduction. I guess is my. It's not social deduction, but as you can see on the board here, you just simply you have a hand of clue cards that you're going to use to play on different color treasure cubes to place on the board, and then you try to eliminate the area down to a point where you know what the treasure is. As you can see, it down to 2 cubes. Gray eliminated 2, and brown eliminated 2, and white was the last treasure that we raised.
There you go.
Okay, you got it? And then, so you're going to play these clue cards, they're called, underneath, as you can see, underneath these colored cubes, and that's going to tell you where the treasure is buried. And it sounds kind of, it's hard to understand from just somebody saying that, but believe me, it works really well. And these clue cards, for instance, here's a clue card that I would use, and it says that the treasure is on a lake, inland lake. And you can see there's 3 areas of inland lakes on this board. So we would put, wherever I played this, let's say I played this on white, then I would take the white cubes and I would put them on all the inland lake spaces like this, and we would know that the white treasure is in those spaces somewhere. And my card would go underneath that with my marker on it, and then it would be the other player's turn, and they would try to eliminate some of these white cubes by playing one of their cards that might say, okay, white is, maybe they have a card that says,
here you go.
So that's playing.
Oh, that's in.
Yeah, in.
Sorry. I don't have anything then.
Okay, here we go. It's in a space by amount.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe my opponent would play this card over here underneath white and put her green marker on there, and it says that white cubes have to be in a space by the mountains. So we would take off all cubes that aren't next to mountains.
This one.
And that would be all of these white cubes would get eliminated.
There.
Oops, that one will stay there. And now we're down to, instead of all those white cubes we had, we're down to 6 of them. So you see how that works. You just keep playing these clue cards to eliminate spaces on the board so that you can isolate where that treasure is buried, and then you race your little ATV car to that area to try to raise that treasure. And
It's
then
pretty cute.
Yeah, pretty cute little cars you use. And then the distribution of treasures depends on how many
Do this one.
of your tokens you have in this line. So if we raise this treasure, this gray treasure, then green would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tokens here. They would get 5 treasure cards. Yellow player would get 1, and then you add 1 to those cards out of the deck, and you mix them all up, and then you turn them up one at a time, and you bid on them one at a time. You can either take that card that's showing on top of the deck, or you pass all the way until that stack of cards is gone. And that's how this game is played. And then you have amulet tokens you can see here, and they appear whenever you raise a treasure. These gum statue, dum dum. And whenever dum dum spins, he plants a token on the coast. So an amulet on the coast.
So his amulet would go right there.
So these amulets keep appearing, and as you can running around the board, you want to try and pick up these amulets because you can use them for travel, which really comes in handy. And then also there's 2 curse cards in the deck of treasure cards, and if that curse card appears you have to lose your highest gold card or pay an amulet. And once the treasure card deck is all gone, the game ends immediately, and you count your money. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, it takes some thought process, because you don't want to get left like here. If you see this column, the yellow player is really in dire straits, because green player is going to get, if they raise the gray treasure, they're going to get the bulk of the treasure cards out of this particular run of cards. So you kind of want to distribute your cards out so that you don't get caught with not getting any treasure, and then also because if a curse card hits, you don't lose so much, because if you have all your cards, like if green player was here and a curse card came out, they would lose a lot of potential treasure cards in that particular move. So yeah, and then you have these cute little huts that go on the board, and they don't really do anything. They're just location markers for some of the cards. And palm trees, same thing. Some of the cards say the treasure is in a space by a statue or in a space by a palm tree, and that's what those are for. This board is modular, and it can, I think I read where it can be laid down 32 different ways, so that's a real variable setup as far as the board is concerned. So it's different every time you play. But we really liked Tobago, didn't we? I really liked it.
Yes.
If I could get this for a reasonable price,
This would be one I would want.
I would probably put this in our library.
Because we don't have anything like this.
And I'll keep my eye out for it. And if something, yeah, it's different. This deduction thing in a board game is really different. And we really enjoyed it. And like Lori said, we don't have anything like this in our library. So I would make room for this game. It's probably a gateway plus game, I guess, but not very difficult. So Gateway Plus is right where the games that we like to play. So this is the type of thing we're looking for, different type of mechanic with that deduction thing. So yeah, I would really like to get a copy of this into our library, and I'd have to part with something that I really love, because I'm down to a point now. I think I've got 140 board games in my house, and that's including all little tiny games, and so I'm parting with some of those games, because all the ones that I have now I'm madly in love with. But I mean, something would have to go, because I would make room for Tobago. So I want to tell you about it. That's the first game of our convention, and I'll talk to you when we get done playing another one. All right, you guys, so while we were putting away, I felt like I wanted to mention the nice insert in this box. Holds everything, your 2 decks of cards, the amulets go right here, the bags with the cubes and so forth. Yeah, what goes in there?
The huts.
Oh, the little huts go underneath the cards. And then 3 places each for your palm trees and your dumb statues. And then the board pieces go on top of there like that. And these go in here like this. Oh, on there. Oh. There we go. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then your rule books go right on top, and you're all set. So that's a pretty. I love, this game. There's not a lot of components to it, but there's a nice thought process to playing it, and it makes you think a little bit. And this is the type of games that Lori and I like to play, light to medium board games where we're done in an hour, and we like this game a lot. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hey guys, how you doing? I've just got done playing a game called Legacy by Michael Hendricks, The Testament of Duke de Crecy. And this game is, the theme of this game is just the aristocracy or the nobles and what it was like back, I think it's a 1700s setting or something like that. But this is a worker placement game, and very limited worker placement game. You have only 2 workers that you're going to use the entire game, and then you have limited use of some special workers of different colors, and they can only do specific things, and they're one-time use, and then you discard them, and you can get them at varying times during the game. But you are essentially building a family tree. As you can see, we have a couple of family trees here, where you start out with a family patriarch or matriarch, either one, and then you marry these couples off, and they bear children, and you get benefits on the cards, the friend cards that you use for marrying. Gives you special benefits, and the person with the most honor points at the end of the game wins. And you can see we played this game for an hour and we tied. we've done that 1,000 times in our board game playing careers. But the game was pretty good, and it was fun. It was very interesting, and I like the way you can use your workers as many times as you want to on these spaces on your player board, but only one worker can occupy a space on the main board. So it gets kind of competition for those spaces, and you have to make sure that you are going to get what you want out off that main board. So you got to kind of plan for that while you're playing the game. But overall, this is a really, really good game. I don't think I would replace anything in my library with this game. That by no means means that this game is weak in any way. It is not. I would have to spend more time with this game, I will say that.
Yeah.
I think I need to play it another time or two, and I'm just not going to do that. At a convention, we're going to go get another game. But this game is definitely worth looking into and worth playing, and again, it is a good time.
It takes up a lot of table space.
It does take up a lot of table space. I don't think I would play this with more than 2, ever, because you're building those family trees.
Family trees are huge.
Yeah, they take up quite a bit of space, and you're going to have quite a bit of cards on the table, and then everybody would not have access very easily to this main board. So a 2-player count is all that I would ever play this game at. And yeah, but it's fun, and I would, if I ever got a chance to play it again, I would do so. It's a very good game. It just wasn't, I don't think it was intuitive as it could have been.
And the rulebook wasn't the best.
Yeah, so.
You had to keep jumping back around in the rulebook.
But it's, again, a very good game.
But it was a
and
good game. It's a soloable, too.
yeah. Oh, Michelle, not Michael, it's Michelle. I don't know what the, Michael Hendricks. But yeah, this, let's see, I don't know who the publisher is. Duco Sim. This, I think it was made in Germany.
Dutch Board Game Design Award, so it must be Dutch.
Yeah. It's a really good game. I mean, again, before I would give it any kind of definitive opinion about it, I think I would have to play it 2 or 3 more times, and I'm just not going to do it here at the con. But definitely a game worth checking out. That's Legacy, the Testament of Duke de Crecy. If you like games about the nobility, and another game in this world or this particular type of theme would be Obsession and Marrying Mr. Darcy, I think is Pride and Prejudice card game. So those 2 games would be something you'd want to look into. I really, really like the thematic tie-in to Downton Abbey that Obsession has, if you've never played that board game. But it's a little bit long, and I don't know. Maybe we'll try and fit it in again. I don't know. We'll see.
We played it a couple years ago.
We played a couple years ago, and
it took a long time.
But
felt like it did anyway to learn it.
So we're going to go get another game from the library, and I just want to tell you guys about Legacy. And I don't know. I just I don't have all the facts. I don't have all the facts. I think we did some things wrong, like this deck. We didn't understand what this deck did to affect the game until at the end. We finally we should have went there more often.
We finally figured it out. Yeah, it was too late.
But because we felt like it was a little bit handcuffed at the end, but that was us not knowing how to manipulate the game. So yeah, I would check it out if you get the chance. Or hey, you see somebody selling this game for $10 or $15, you might want to grab it because it's pretty doggone good. And the art on the cards is kind of cartoony, but very, very cool. And it has some good humor in this game. And there is the chance when you're having kids to draw one of these cards that says complication at birth. So in that case, you have to discard the child or the mother. And that's, this is, like I said, this is 1700s. So that kind of stuff went on. And that might be a turnoff for some of you. Because, that's sad. Let's face it, that's sad.
We took them out.
Yeah, but I took these out of the game and just didn't use them. And I think you can do that. I don't think it bothers the game whatsoever. Hey, so that's enough of that. Let's go get another game, and I hope you're having a great day wherever you're at, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Here we are still at the Dice Tower East gaming convention. at the Caribe Royale here in Orlando, Florida, and it's downpouring rain outside, so we couldn't go outside a minute ago. But we just got done playing Reiner Konichi's Ingenious, which came out in, I don't remember. This is 2018, it was before that. But as you can see on this board, it's a very interesting abstract strategy game. And this very mechanic was used in Witchstone, and you use this in your Cauldron in Witchstone if you've done that, played that game, which we love. It's in my Ultimate Top 100 now, Witchstone by Reiner Konichi. It's a wonderful, wonderful game if you haven't played it. But hey, implemented in this way, this is a wonderful game also. It was so much fun. You're trying to link together these shapes and colors. So colorblind people can play it because you can do shapes. But you're trying to link together the shapes and colors and score points by doing that. Because you daisy chain them together. Whatever is in a row, 5 ways out from the tile that you laid in. It's all these double tiles like this. And you have 6 of them on your rack on the board. And right there. And then you're going to take turns playing these on the board. And once you have this little scoreboard here, and you keep track of the color and shape that you're placing on the board, move your pegs forward, and if you get to the top, which I did on one of mine, and you hit the 18, you yell Ingenious, and you get to place an extra tile. And that's pretty cool. And then also, for scoring purposes, whichever is your lowest scoring peg is your final score for the game. So I think Lori has, would you have 11?
11.
She had a peg on 11. I had 3 of them on 14, so 14 was my low score, 11 was hers. And maybe it was that one extra tile I got to play for being ingenious. So that's something to think about when you're playing this game. But I want to talk a little bit about the quality of this game. This box is pretty chintzy. It's a pretty flimsy box. Actually, the lid might be concaving a little bit. And then these these scoreboards are warping pretty badly. These plastic tiles are very nice, and the board is nice. The board's pretty nice, the game board. And then you get a draw bag here with bunches of these hexagon tiles, these double hex tiles, and
a little rack to hold them.
Yeah, a little rack to hold them. And that's it for components in this game. The game is what you'd expect from a good abstract strategy game. We really had a good time playing it. Reiner Konichi, one of the best board game designers in history. So we expected it. We knew we'd like it, again, because we knew this mechanic was in Witchstone, and we saw this played on YouTube and knew we would like it, but we never had the opportunity to play it, and now we have. But boy, I'd like to see some really chunky checkers and a nice production for this game. Deluxe type of situation.
Ingenious.
Yeah, just to have a good time with it. Because this game is worth being in your library. I mean, it's a good one, and it's a lot of fun. It's the type of game we like to play. I think we played this in about, I don't even know if it took a half hour.
No.
But
I don't think so.
I mean, and that's the type of games that we like to play, you guys. And you know that. I mean, there's some wonderful games here. Some huge, expansive games. Maybe I'll take some pictures and we can put those in the video. These monstrous games that these people are playing are incredible, and it's wonderful that they're having a good time doing that because there's different games for everybody, and this is the type of games that we like to play, and this is the type of game that we're selecting out of the library here, out of the 2,000 game library that Tom Vassell brought to Orlando here, and we're having a good time so far. So that's Ingenious. You can play it with confidence. It's a wonderful game. Talk to you later.
You're not a problem.
Hey everybody, we're still here at the Dice Tower East Games Convention at the beautiful Caribe Royale Resort Hotel, and it's getting late now. It's 7:30. We've been playing games all day, and this is Le Havre, The Inland Port by Uwe Rosenberg, and this has been out since 2012. We've just never played it, and we're huge fans of Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small, and Caverna, Cave versus Cave. We love those two big box versions that we have of those games. They're smaller, little brothers of the original games, and they play in a fraction of the time, so we really like them. And this one is not as good as those two, I don't think. We had fun playing this game, and it's pretty neat the way it works. You have a board that you're going to have a pointer on, and that's every turn is going to move and change the value of the buildings that you've purchased. Now you can activate your buildings according to the value on the wheel, and like this marketplace building, if I activated it, I could do it 4 times, things like that. And it's just going to compound as this thing spins around, and the number of actions that you're going to take changes from round to round. And you have a separate board here to keep track of your resources. You have wood and clay, grain and fish, so that those are food. You can make food purchases with those food items. And it also has a board here that shows you what buildings are going to come out in what round, so you know ahead of time what's going to be there. And I really like the part of the game where you activate these buildings according to the value on this wheel, and that kind of works like the resource wheel in Glass Road Uwe used. So it's kind of similar to that, and it's got some other mechanics in here that Uwe's used, but I liked it, but because of the way it's made, it's a little bit fiddly. These cubes that you're keeping track of on the resource board, you got to be very, very careful that you don't bump those. And again, there's other games that do that, but it still gets to be annoying. And then also over here on this board, you have, when you use one of these buildings, you have to put it in from whatever space you activated it in into the 0 space, and you have to remember that. But the worst part about it is you have certain actions for each round, a certain number of actions. So in other words, in G, there's 7 actions. That's 7 actions total for both players. And then it tells you which player is first. Well, once it gets up there, it's hard to keep track of how many turns you've taken, how many actions in that round. So we'd use these little resource markers that came with the game, and when we would take one of our actions, we would put one of those in front of us to kind of track that, because people our age can't remember how many actions we've taken. I've had so much action in my life, I just can't remember any more action. Yeah, so we kind of tracked it that way, and it was a fun game. I would play it again. It's typical Uwe Rosenberg with the buildings and the resource management system that's in the game, and I liked it, but I thought the production was a little weak. These boards, this spinner is a little bit too loose. I don't know how I'm sure you could fix that or find a way to fix that, but they're warping a little bit, and I don't know. I mean, it was cheaply produced. The game itself is fine. It's a good game. I would play it again, actually, but it's cheaply produced and a little bit fiddly, and it's not as good as All Creatures Big and Small and Cave vs. Cave, so that settles that right there. But we had fun doing it, and we're having a good time here at Dice Tower East Games Convention, and we're going to go eat some supper now because I'm starving to death. But I hope you're having a great time wherever you're at, and we'll report back when we play another game. Hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector, and we just got done playing Azul Stained Glass of Sintra. Now, Stained Glass of Sintra is the second iteration of Azul. Of course, Azul, the Spill the Jars winner by Michael Kiesling, was the first one. Then Stained Glass is the second. Then there was Summer Pavilion, and then there was Queen's something.
Queen's Collection,
Queen's
maybe?
Collection?
Queen's something, yeah.
Queen's something.
Maybe we'll try that tomorrow.
4 in the Azul series. This is the third one. I've played 3 of them. I haven't played the newest one, but this is a really good one. And in this one, you're simply trying to, much like the other Azuls, you have a central board and then 5 factories around it that will have all these tiles on them, that you are going to be choosing from. And you simply would take tiles from these factories of the same color, and then the rest of them go into the center of the. Like if I was to choose these, I would choose these 2 blue ones to put on my board, maybe over here, and these two, the remainder goes in the middle. And then whoever is first to take something out of the middle would also grab the first player marker. Then once you select those tiles, they go on these strips of the stained glass, and you have to have your glazier, this little fella here, over top of that strip. So he has to be able to go to the right. You can put your glass tokens on the strip underneath him, or any of them to the right. And if you do any of them to the right, you have to move your glazier to that point. And then you can't put anything to the left of the glazier until you take a turn, and it takes your whole turn to move him all the way back to the left, wherever that happens to be. Once you complete these strips, you flip them over and do it again. And then once the strip is complete, you take one of the crystal, or one of the what are those things called?
I don't know what they're called in this
I
game.
can't remember. Pane pieces.
Panes, that's right.
Yeah. So once you have 2 pane pieces below each strip, then the strip is removed. I completed 1, 2, 3, 4 strips, so they've been removed from my board. And you did that. It takes you, again, you have to complete that strip twice. Once you complete it once, you flip it over, and then you complete it second time, and that is represented by these pane pieces down here. And you get bonuses for surrounding these icons on the bottom at the end of the game. And then also during the game, it's a round. I think it's exactly like some Pavilion. You have a round tracker with different color pane pieces on the round tracker, and those are the ones that will be wild for that particular. Wild, and you get a color bonus when you complete your strip. So if you complete a strip with some of these green ones on it, you'd be able to count that as a 1 point bonus for each one of those on the strip. And then you just move your marker around the track here, and then if you are, sometimes maybe in this, for instance here, maybe I have the strip almost complete, and something in the middle, one of these factory cups has 3 of these red pieces, and it's my only way to get them. Then I would take all 3, put 2 of them on my board, and put the second one. I would drop the third one and break it, and put it in this container here, and then I'd lose a point on the board here for every piece of pane glass that I break during the game. And I broke 5 of them, so I lost 5 points at the end of the game.
Still won though.
But yeah, I mean, what'd you think? It's fun.
I liked it.
It's an abstract strategy game, and it's very fun. I still prefer Summer Pavilion out of the 3 that I've played.
Yeah.
I haven't played the newest one.
This was number 2.
Yeah, this is number 2, and then the original Azul, crazily enough, was the least of our favorite, just because it was had a mean streak to it that we didn't care for. But Summer Pavilion, again, is our favorite. This one would be second, and this was fun, again, but every time you move these strips, I'm getting a little hoarse, I'm sorry. Every time you move these strips, you move this board, and it got to be annoying.
It was fiddly.
Yeah, it's kind of fiddly because of that.
Change the strips all the time.
So, but other than that, it was a fun game. Would never make my library. It just doesn't have enough happening in it. And again, that fiddliness of those strips is kind of aggravating when you're trying to, because they're between each other. So you got to pick them up. So you're picking up like that, and you push the bottom, because you got to pick them up to flip them, and then you got to push. It's just a pain.
It's not that big of a deal, but it is kind of fiddly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that big a deal, except that you don't have to put up with it. There's so many good games. You don't have to. You don't have to deal with that if you don't want to, and I don't want to. But that's Azul, Stained Glass of Sintra by my favorite board game designer in the world, Michael Kiesling. I love his games, and this was no exception. It's a very good game. So if you have this game, it's good. I enjoyed playing it, and would play it over and over again if I owned it, and I'm sure people do enjoy this game over and over again, because that's what abstract strategy games are. They're different every time you play them, and they really are themeless per se, and it's just a matter of moving pieces around and doing it, strategizing and being efficient to the best of your ability. So that's what Azul is about, and we really enjoyed it. So we're going to bed. That's it for the first day of gaming here at the con, and we played 5 games today, which wasn't too bad because again, you have to sit down, you have to read the rule book, and set the game up and play it, and it takes a little bit of time to do that. So we're gonna attack some bigger games maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens, but it's been fun so far. There's a lot of people here. You know, a lot of gamers, a lot of YouTubers that I see over here, and I've enjoyed being here so far, and I'm going to go get a nap, and I'll talk to you tomorrow when we play some more board games. Have a great night. Bye-bye.